My girlfriend told me nobody's holding you hostage at my work party. So I left. She's now calling me dramatic. I need some perspective here because everyone's telling me I overreacted, but I'm pretty sure I just did the smartest thing I've ever done in a relationship. My girlfriend Tora and I have been together for 3 years, living together for 1. She's a hairstylist and does social media content on the side, TikTok, Instagram, that whole thing. Very outgoing, loves attention, which I always thought was cool because I'm the opposite. I'm a back-end developer, pretty introverted, just got promoted to tech lead at my company. Here's the thing though. From early on, there were these moments that made me uncomfortable. We'd be at a bar and she'd be touching the bartender's arm while ordering, whispering in the DJ's ear, that kind of stuff. Whenever I mentioned it bothered me, she'd roll her eyes and say, "You're being jealous. I'm just friendly. You know I'm an extrovert." After hearing that enough times, I started thinking maybe I was the problem. Maybe I was being insecure or controlling, so I stopped bringing it up. Fast forward to last Friday night. My team lead Ben organized this rooftop game night at his apartment building to celebrate my promotion. This was huge for me. I've been working toward this promotion for literal 2 years, and I really wanted my coworkers to see that my girlfriend was as awesome as I kept telling them she was. Ben's neighbor Miles came up to help with the music setup. He's an indie musician, plays local bars. Tori recognized him from some show she'd been to and immediately switched into what I can only describe as mode. Touching his arm tattoos, laughing super loud at everything he said, taking photos with her hand on his waist. She was telling these inside jokes about the local music scene like they were old friends, completely ignoring me standing right there. I felt my face getting hot, but I tried to stay calm. When Miles went to grab more drinks, I leaned over to Tori and said quietly, "Hey, can we step outside for a second?" She didn't even look at me. "Why, what's wrong?" "Just, can we talk real quick, won't take long." Now she looked at me and I could see her expression shift. "Are you seriously doing this right now, at your work thing?" I kept my voice low. "I'm not doing anything, I just want to talk about what Lucas." Her voice had gotten louder. A few people nearby glanced over. "Can we please just step outside?" She laughed, but it wasn't a friendly laugh. "Let me guess. You have a problem with me talking to Miles. You're uncomfortable." "Tori, come on, no, seriously." She crossed her arms. "If me just existing and talking to someone bothers you that much, nobody's holding you hostage, Lucas. You know where the exit is." The music was still playing, but I swear the entire rooftop went quiet for a second. Ben froze mid-conversation. Priya's eyes went wide. I stood there for maybe 10 seconds. In that moment, I realized this wasn't the first time she dismissed my feelings. It wasn't even the 10th time. But it was the first time she'd done it in front of other people. The first time she'd literally told me I'd just leave. So I put my drink down, looked at her and said, "Thanks for being clear about that." Then I walked to the elevator and left. Didn't look back, didn't make a scene, just left. I went back to our apartment, packed a bag with my laptop, work clothes, and some essentials and called my buddy Marco. He picked me up within an hour. I've been crashing on his couch since Friday night. Tori got home around 2 a.m. and started blowing up my phone. "What are you doing? This is ridiculous, come home. You're destroying everything over one comment." I only responded once. "I'm just doing what you said. You told me I wasn't being held hostage and the exit was right there, so I left." Now her friends are texting me saying I'm being dramatic, that she didn't mean it literally, that I'm throwing away 3 years over nothing. My own mom even said maybe I should have tried to talk it through first. But here's what keeps running through my mind. She didn't say that in private. She said it loud enough for my coworkers to hear. She told me I wasn't being held hostage and could find the exit at the event celebrating my promotion. And honestly, the relief I felt walking into that elevator was bigger than any sadness. And that says more than I can put into words. So Reddit, did I overreact? Or was I completely justified? Update 1. Thanks for all the support on my last post. Things have gotten interesting. So Sunday night, Tori showed up at Marco's place. She'd been blowing up my phone all weekend and I'd been ignoring it, so she decided to show up in person. She was crying, makeup running down her face, asking Marco to let her see me. Marco is 63 and works as a paramedic. He blocked the doorway completely and said, "Lucas doesn't want to talk. You told him he wasn't being held hostage and could leave. He left. What's confusing about that?" She tried to push past him, insisting she needed to see me, that it was an emergency. He didn't move. "I deal with actual emergencies for a living. This isn't one. You need to go." She stood there for a few more minutes crying, then finally left. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about all the times this had happened before. Not just the bar stuff, there were so many moments where she'd push a boundary, I'd react, she'd flip it around to make it my fault, and I'd end up apologizing. Then the boundary would get pushed even further next time. I'd been so deep in it I couldn't see the pattern. Monday at work was when things started to shift. Ben pulled me aside during our coffee break. "Hey man, I need to say something. The way I talked to you Friday night, that wasn't okay. Everyone heard it. You handled it way better than most people would have." Then Priya sent me a Slack message. "I thought you were going to stay and take it. When you walked to that elevator, I literally thought, finally. You deserve better than that." It hit me that my coworkers had been seeing what I'd been making excuses for. But here's where it gets messy. I started posting on Instagram. A series of black and white stories with captions like, "3 years gone over one small argument. He abandoned me when I'm struggling with my mental health. Sometimes the person you think will always be there just walks away." The implication was clear. I'm cold, emotionally abusive, wouldn't let her be herself or have male friends. She was painting herself as the victim of a guy who just randomly left her. But some of the people from the rooftop party saw those stories, and they didn't let it slide. Priya commented on one. She screenshotted it before it disappeared. "I was there. You told him he wasn't being held hostage and to find the exit if he had a problem in front of his coworkers. He just did exactly what you said. Don't twist this." Ben commented on one of her actual posts that she'd forgotten to make private. "Just to be clear, Lucas didn't make a scene. You were the one who raised your voice in front of everyone. Don't rewrite what happened." But the comment that really shocked me came from Miles, the musician guy she'd been flirting with. Under one of her posts about her toxic ex-boyfriend, he wrote, "Don't know if this is about Lucas, but from an outside perspective that night, he politely asked to talk privately. You're the one who started yelling. Also, flirting with someone else while you're there with your boyfriend and then calling him insecure when he's uncomfortable. Not a healthy vibe." I deleted the stories, but screenshots had already spread through our mutual friend groups and somehow through my company's social circle too. The narrative she was trying to build, that I was some controlling asshole who abandoned her, collapsed before it could even take hold. Meanwhile, reality started hitting her in other ways. See our apartment, internet, electricity, phone, family plan, Spotify, Hulu. I'd set all of that up and it auto-charged to my card. After I left, I called the bank and got a new card number. All those payments bounced. She was in the middle of a live stream when the internet cut out. She texted me, "Did you seriously cut off my internet? That's so petty." I sent one email response. "I stopped paying for services I don't use anymore." Adults pay their own bills, Tori. Then there was the car insurance. She'd been on my policy because it was cheaper than getting her own. I removed her. She got the new quote for solo coverage and her premium nearly doubled. She texted, "You're making things financially hard for me on purpose." I didn't respond. By Wednesday, I got an email from our landlord about the lease. We're both on it, but I've been paying 70% of the rent because I made more. I told the landlord I was moving out and wouldn't be renewing when the lease ended. I'd pay my share until then, but that's it. I would either need to find a roommate, pay the full rent herself, or move. Her problem now, not mine. The crazy thing, I thought I'd feel guilty about all this. About the bills, the apartment, leaving her to figure it out. But I just don't. Every time I start to feel bad, I remember her saying I wasn't being held hostage and the exit was right there, said in front of my coworkers at my own celebration, and any guilt evaporates. Marco's been great. His couch is surprisingly comfortable, and yesterday he told me, I've been waiting 3 years for you to realize she didn't respect you. I'm glad you finally saw it. To be honest, it kind of sucks, realizing everyone else could see how toxic that relationship was while I was being completely blind. But at least I see it clearly now. Better late than never, right? Edit. Someone in the comments asked if I was worried about her showing up at my office. Honestly, yeah, that crossed my mind. But I work in a secure building and I've already given the front desk a heads up. If she shows up, they know not to let her up. Update 2. I really hoped I wouldn't need to post again, but here we are. Last Thursday, Tori showed up at my office building. She told the receptionist she was my fiancé, we were never engaged, and needed to see me urgently. The receptionist called me and I came down to the lobby. I kept it short. I don't want to talk privately. If this is about the apartment lease or shared bills, send me an email. She tried to grab my arm. I stepped back. Tori, we're done. You need to leave, or else I'll call the police. She left crying, but I figured that was the end of it. I was wrong. Yesterday she came back, but this time she wasn't alone. She brought Sarah, an HR business partner at my company who Tori had met at some networking event months ago. I guess the plan was to use a neutral third party to force me to listen. Sarah looked uncomfortable from the start, but Tori launched into her version of events. He left without saying goodbye. He ghosted me for days. He's been jealous and controlling for months, and when I finally stood up to him, he abandoned me. He cut me off financially. I just want him to talk to me so we can work this out. Sarah turned to me. Is this how it happened? I stayed calm and told her the truth. The whole rooftop story, how I asked to talk privately, how Tori responded by loudly in front of my coworkers, how I simply did what she told me to. Sarah looked at Tori. Did you say that? Tell him he wasn't being held hostage and to find the exit, out loud in front of his coworkers. Tori stumbled. I mean, what I meant was, if he couldn't handle my personality then. Sarah cut her off. I'm not asking what you meant. I'm asking, did you say those specific words loudly in front of his colleagues? Tori's face went red. She tried to pivot, but he just shut down after that. He won't talk to me. He won't work on our relationship. Sarah's expression changed. She turned to Tori and said something I'll never forget. He doesn't owe you another conversation after you said that. Adults take responsibility for their words. Then she looked at me. If she keeps showing up at your workplace, report it to HR. This isn't a relationship issue anymore, it's a workplace boundaries issue. Before Tori could respond, Sarah looked at her one more time. Tori, you asked me to come here as a favor, but you didn't tell me the full story. Don't drag me into your drama again. Tori was completely speechless. Security escorted them both out. I stood there in the lobby for a minute after they left, just processing what the hell had just happened. Then I went back upstairs. Ben stopped by my desk an hour later. Heard there was drama downstairs. You good? Yeah, I think it's finally over. The relief I felt when I said those words was overwhelming. That evening, I went to look at an apartment, a small one-bedroom about 15 minutes from work. Clean, quiet mine. I signed the lease this morning. When I told Marco, he seemed almost proud. You know what the difference is between 3 days ago and now? 3 days ago, you were still on her leash. Now you're free. You can actually breathe. He's right. I've been sleeping better. Not great, but better. I'm not waking up wondering what I did wrong or how I'll be made to feel crazy today. I'm not checking my phone every 5 minutes to see what I'm being accused of now. The thing that keeps surprising me is how many people have told me they saw this coming. Coworkers, friends, even my sister called and said, I never liked how she talked to you, but I didn't think you'd listen if I said anything. Part of me wishes someone had said something earlier, but another part knows I wouldn't have heard it until I was ready. Tori's been quiet since the office incident. No calls, no texts, no Instagram stories. I don't know if Sarah's words got through to her or if she's just regrouping. Honestly, I don't care anymore. The lease on our old place ends in 6 weeks. I'll pay my share until then, and after that I'm completely done. No more shared bills, no more connection. I'm moving into my new place next weekend. Marco's helping me move, and weirdly, Priya offered to help too. I want to see you actually get settled in a place where you're not walking on eggshells, she said. That phrase stuck with me. Walking on eggshells. That's what the last 3 years felt like, and I didn't even realize it until I stepped off them. Final update. I really didn't think I'd be posting again. The last update felt like closure. But after what happened last week, I need to get this out. So about a month ago, I met someone, Ashley, data analyst, calm, straightforward, completely different from Tori. We met at a friend's birthday party and just clicked. We'd been on maybe 4 or 5 dates. Nothing serious yet, but it felt healthy. Easy. I wasn't overthinking every word or waiting for the other shoe to drop. Last Tuesday, Ashley texted asking if we could meet up to talk. The message had that tone, you know. My stomach dropped, but I said sure. We met at the coffee shop near my apartment. She looked uncomfortable, wouldn't really make eye contact. Then she said, "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. Did you really abandon your ex-girlfriend when she was struggling with her mental health? And were you controlling about who she could be friends with?" I just stared at her. "What? Who told you that?" "A woman named Tori reached out to me on Instagram yesterday. She said she was your ex." My blood went cold, then hot, then cold again. Ashley continued, "She sent me screenshots of texts between you two. Said you isolated her from her friends, got jealous if she talked to other guys, and then just left her without explanation. She was crying in her voice messages. Voice messages. Tori had sent Ashley voice messages crying about me. I took a breath. Can I see what she sent you?" Ashley showed me her phone. The screenshots were real texts between Tori and me, but they were cropped. Carefully cropped. Like one from when I'd asked her not to go to her ex's birthday party because he'd been texting her inappropriately. In Tori's screenshot to Ashley, you could only see my message. "I really don't feel comfortable with you going to his party." It looked controlling. What you couldn't see was the context, the previous messages where I'd shown her the text from her ex literally asking her to leave me. I felt this weird calm come over me. I'd been patient for 3 years with Tori. I'd been the bigger person when I left. I'd stayed quiet when she tried to trash me on social media, but going after Ashley, that crossed a line I didn't even know I had. "Ashley, I'm going to tell you exactly what happened, then I'm going to make sure Tori never does this again." I told her everything. The rooftop party, the exact words Tori said, everything. Then I pulled out my phone. "I'm going to show you something I've never shown anyone." I opened my Google Photos. After the rooftop incident, I'd screenshotted some things. I showed Ashley all of it. Full text conversations showing the context Tori had cropped out. Screenshots of Tori's Instagram stories from after I left, the ones claiming I was abusive. The comments from my coworkers defending me. Text messages from Tori's friends after we broke up, some apologizing to me because they'd seen how she treated me. Ashley's expression changed as she scrolled. "Oh my God." She paused, looking back at me hesitantly. "I'm so sorry. I should have asked you first before." "No," I cut her off. "You did the right thing. If someone's ex reaches out with warnings, you should listen. I'm glad you're careful, but now I need to deal with this." Ashley looked worried. "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to make sure everyone knows exactly who Tori is." That night I did something I never thought I'd do. I made a detailed Instagram post. I didn't name Tori, but I didn't have to. I wrote, "PSA, if my ex-girlfriend contacts anyone I'm dating or friends with to warn them about me, please know. 1. I have screenshots of the full context of any cropped text she might show you. 2. Multiple witnesses can verify what actually happened. 3. I left because she publicly told me to after I called her out for something that made me uncomfortable, so I did. 4. Trying to sabotage someone's new relationship months after you told them to leave is not concern, it's harassment. I've been quiet out of respect for what we had, but interfering with my life after we've been done for months crosses a line. This is your one warning." Then I tagged every single person who had been at the rooftop party, including Miles the musician, including Ben and the coworkers. Within an hour, people started responding. Ben commented, "Can confirm every word, Priya. Receipts don't lie," and so on. But here's where it gets interesting. The next morning, I woke up to my phone blowing up. Tori had apparently seen my Instagram story and responded with her own post. It's sad when people rewrite history to make themselves the hero. I tried to warn someone about a man's concerning behavior and now I'm being harassed by him and his friends. This is exactly the controlling behavior I was worried about. The comments on her post were not what she expected. Because remember, a lot of my coworkers follow her from before, and people from the rooftop party, and even some of her own friends who'd seen how things actually went down. Top comments: "Girl, I was there, stop lying. You told him he could leave and he left. Now you're stalking his new girlfriend. That's concerning behavior. Tori, I know we're friends, but this is not it. You can't crop screenshots and call it warning someone. That's manipulation." But my favorite comment came from Miles. "Just so everyone's clear, I'm the guy from the party she was flirting with. She never mentioned having a boyfriend. When he politely asked to talk privately about it, she told him to leave in front of everyone. Now she's playing victim. Nah, take accountability." Tori deleted the post within 3 hours, but the screenshots had already spread. Then came the fallout I didn't expect. Tori's TikTok account, where she has like 50K followers, started getting comments, people asking about the drama. She tried to ignore it, but then someone posted a stitch of one of her videos with the caption POV. "You told your boyfriend nobody's holding you hostage, so he left, and now months later you're trying to sabotage his new relationship." It got 200K views. Her comments section became a war zone. She had to turn them off on all her posts. Ashley and I met up again on Friday. She brought coffee and said, "I'm really sorry I doubted you even for a day." "You didn't doubt me," I said. "You did your due diligence. That's smart. I just wish Tori hadn't put you in that position." "So?" Ashley looked nervous. "Where does this leave us?" Honestly, I'd been thinking about that. Part of me wondered if this drama was too much too soon. If Ashley would want to run for the hills, but she'd handled it with maturity. She'd asked questions. She'd listened to evidence. She'd given me a chance to explain. That's all I could ask for. "I still want to get to know you," I said. "If you're still interested, but I understand if this is too much baggage," she smiled. "I've met your ex. She seems exhausting. You, on the other hand, seem like someone who just wants peace. I'm interested in the person who walked away from drama, not the person trying to create it. So yeah, we're still seeing each other, taking it slow, but it feels right." As for Tori, I blocked her on everything after the Instagram post. So did Ashley. I heard through the grapevine that she privated all her social media accounts and took a break from posting. Apparently the backlash was affecting her content creation income. Part of me, a very small part, feels bad about that. The rest of me remembers her sending crying voice messages to Ashley, trying to destroy something good before it even started, and I feel absolutely nothing. Tori wanted to see me get angry. She finally did. And now she knows exactly what happens when you push someone too far. I'm sleeping fine at night. My apartment is quiet. Ashley and I are planning a hiking trip next weekend. Work is good. Marco is teaching me how to make his famous chili. And Tori is finally completely out of my life. Honestly, best decision I ever made was walking through that exit she pointed out. Second best decision was making sure she couldn't follow me through it.